Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to the Super Math Magicia for this one. Amy controls Vizier of Remedies and Devoted Druid. Now, if you've played Modern, then you probably know that if you have both of these creatures in play at the same time, then you can make as much green mana as you want. But exactly how does this combo work? Could you describe it to a player? Alright, so before we get into this, if a player asks you how this combo works in-game, and they're the person who controls these cards, then you've got a really easy answer, which is that you don't help people out playing their own decks. You're there to answer rules questions. Now, that being the case, as a judge, you're known to be an expert in the rules, so people might come up to you and ask you to explain how certain popular combos actually function, and as long as you're not doing this in a way that's helping a player out in a game that they're playing, you definitely should help as much as you can. And part of that means that you should know exactly how these things work in enough detail that you would be able to explain it to somebody who wasn't sure themselves. So, let's take a look at exactly how this combo functions. First of all, we're going to take a look at what the Vizier of Remedies ability says. It's a replacement effect, and that takes any amount of -1/-1 counters that's going to be put onto a creature and replaces it with putting one fewer counters on that creature. Now, replacement effects can work anytime the thing that they replace is happening in the game, whether that's from a resolving spell or ability, or a state-based action happening, or, in this case, paying the cost to activate an ability. So, what happens is, if you pay the cost of put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid in the process of activating that ability, then Vizier of Remedies will see that there's a -1/-1 counter being put on that creature and replace it with one fewer -1/-1 counters, that is, 0, being put on that creature instead. Of course, that means that you can untap Devoted Druid as many times as you want, and in the process, you can tap it as many times as you want to gain as much green mana as you need. So, that's all well and good, but there's one other thing that kind of is interesting about this situation, and that is, wait a minute, didn't we have Melora already? That's even in the same color. Why did we have to wait so long before this deck became popular? Did everybody just forget about this card? Well, of course, the answer is that it doesn't work. With Melora, we have one very important distinction, which is that it says creatures you control can't have -1/-1 counters put on them. That means the instruction of put a -1/-1 counter on any creature that Melora's controller happens to have is not possible for you to legally fulfill. Therefore, if you're trying to activate Devoted Druid's ability while you have a Melora out, you can't do it. It's not legal for you to even attempt to put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. I suppose for completeness, I should go over what would happen if you had all three of these in play at the same time. And the answer is exactly the same as in the previous case. Again, Melora doesn't want you to put any -1/-1 counters on the creature at all, so it's not legal for you to even try. The game doesn't care if the creature getting a -1/-1 counter is going to later get replaced with the creature getting no -1/-1 counters on it. Melora is not going to have any of that. So if you have Melora in play, you can't untap any of your Devoted Druids with their abilities, whether or not you have Vizier of Remedies in play as well. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.